Hey, Paul, they can hear you a little bit. A
What?
A lot of it.
lot of it. They can pick you up.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh,
I'll be
let's
fine.
see.
Can't be picked up or quiet.
Okay. Do the roll call.
Huh. Jane still talk.
2 o'clock.
Okay, got it. All right.
Intervening in art.
Okay. Looks like the recording has started. And so we can all begin now.
Oh,
Oh, okay. So I'd like to open this monthly board meeting dated 22 January 2023. I'd like to start off with a roll call here. Randy Powell here.
Susan Hunt, Becky Barber,
Melissa
Rowe.
William Ozenbach.
Okay, we have all 5 present. We have a quorum for the meeting. I'd like to begin with the reading of the minutes from December. With Susan.
Okay, December 18th of 2022, all board members were present. We read the minutes, they were all approved. Architectural update at the December meeting, 1 property was under review, all others had been approved up to that time frame. Violations, reminder, restrictions allowed board of directors to issue violations if members do not pay. Small claims court will be utilized to resolve. We still need a member for Block D to notify the board of violations. There's a meeting plan to discuss procedures for volunteers, committee report only, no action or contact directly with members. Concerning dogs, banned or continued violations of dogs not contained, small claims court will be used to enforce fines due to public nuisance. Vandalism to area members, the board intends to prosecute anyone who vandalizes property and possible removal from the POA. Members asked to provide pictures or camera footage of any incidents or suspicious behavior to the board. Members are reminded to be diligent to conduct neighborhood watch for any unknown individuals and suspicious behavior. Harbor Patrol report, there was no new update. Roads and Utilities by William Ossenbach. Discussion to repair options to the dumpster area, still obtaining estimate. There's a member that wants to donate a piece of equipment for use on road repairs, trade for diesel and possession of the rock or material excavated. LREC USW investigation resulted in no remedy. There was no proof or documentation to prove fault of damages during the recent water outages. William was going to check with the water company regarding overages not being resolved. William suggested representation needed at water company meetings. We voted on lots B 476 and 477 to sell them by bid as a package for a $5,000 minimum bid. Lot 331 is to be sold via bid, minimum bid 2,500, sealed bids to be obtained and opened at the next board of directors meeting. Treasury report by Becky Barber. The income statement as of 12/18/22, it was approved by all of us. The general fund had $92,026.99. The road fund had $86,516.95. Total dues collected in 2022 were $76,948.52. Total back dues received to date was $45,044.04. Total lot sales were $22,449.06. Total of income of all sources was $149,211.78. Total expenses were $87,549.61. $2,000 was added before year's end for trash and harbor patrol. The delinquency report as of 12/18/22, 215,651.45 was owed. 182 out of 896 property owners, which is about 20%, had not paid 2022 dues. IRS update, all penalties and past taxes have been paid. There may be one more penalty still to be billed. CPA has been paid $2,225 to date. That includes 1099 W-2 for 2022 filings. The CPA is trying to get refunds on some of the IRS bills paid due to provisional exceptions. 3 1099s for 2022, Don Taylor, Butch Drain, and Sarah Price. You have to file them if more than $600 or more was paid. Required to file a 1096 and provide 1099s. Pool and Parks by Melissa Rowe. Leaves had been removed and burned in the park. She opened and closed for the Christmas party. Water shut off. Water tank was drained for the winter months. As of the date of that meeting, the community center had no heat, looking for someone who may volunteer to do a quote and repair. Agreed to request free estimates for bathroom repair. Will go outside harbor by mid-January if no response. Jean's Aqua Pro contract was signed and entered in the portal. We discussed that the board is not involved in social events. It's member participation only. Cold temperatures, asking members to turn off water at their meters and take precautions. The next board meeting, January 22nd, 2023 at 2 via Zoom. All board members approved that date. We had an executive meeting that followed. And after that, there was a motion to end the meeting and all approved. That's the end.
Motion to accept.
Yeah. Do you have a motion to accept from everyone? Say, hands up, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah,
Aye.
second.
Okay, we have a second and we have all ayes, so accepted.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Next item we have up is a treasury report.
Okay, I'm gonna ask for approval once I get done with the figures before I continue, if you don't mind.
Okay,
So the December income statement was posted on the bulletin board and on the website on the 1st of January for the month of December. Today's figures as of today for January so far, the general fund is $90,445.74. The road fund is at $86,636.95. The total of the back dues that we've received so far this month in January is $1,397.52. Total income from all sources is $2,070.60. The total expenses so far, $2,439.79. And Randy, if you don't mind, please.
okay. We have a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Motion to
motion
accept.
first.
Okay, we had several people talking at the same time. You say that again?
I motion first. and I think
Second, okay, okay. All right, you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, everybody says aye.
Aye.
Say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Everybody.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 ayes. Ayes passed, motion carried. Becky, do you have anything else to say?
Thank you. Yes, I've got actually a few things. So the delinquency report, as Susan said, last month, we had 182 people who had not paid. To date, we have 7 people who have already paid 2022s. So now we are down, 2022s.
Oh,
The 182 is what we didn't have paid for
Gotcha, okay.
2022s. We're now down to 175 as 7 more people have come on and actually paid 2022s. Out of the 892 owners, The total past dues owed right now is $215,943.41. Last year, as she stated, we received over 45,000 in past dues. We're hoping to continue that trend this year, as we've already received almost 1,400. We already had 2 lien releases mailed out this month for paying off their past dues. I also want to remind everybody, if it out there listening, or know of, to make sure that they file those lien releases at the Cherokee County Courthouse. We are sending more information to the lawyer for the foreclosure. So please get your dues paid for 2022. Concerning the 2022 tax update, the 1096 and the 1099 for the 2022 contractors and the bank records have been sent to the CPA to complete and file. They are supposed to be stamped and mailed by January the 31st. Since Appfolio generated the forms for us, I'm hoping that it won't cost as much for the CPA to file them for us. We still have the corporation 1022H to be filed as well, and this is supposed to be done by March the 31st. I sent all of the penalty and interest charges to our CPA, Susie, for her to see if we can get a refund, but I hadn't heard anything. She did receive them, but I haven't heard anything past that she's received them as of yet. On the original agenda that we had posted, it stated that we had February dates for portal assistance. After speaking with Susan and with Randy, since then, we have decided to move those dates to March. That way, if you are needing assistance and we can print you a payslip, then the payslip will already have your 2023 dues already in there, since it will be after March the 1st. So Randy has volunteered to help on weekends. We don't have any actual dates yet, but we will be posting those once we have settled, what everybody is available to do. The days are going to be staggered and hours are going to be staggered to try to accommodate as many people as we can during the week. When the dues are put in your portal by March the 1st, there will be an email announcement sent out. I have looked at it, sorted. I think it's going to kind of look like an actual statement as an email notification. I'm not going to swear to that, but that's what it looks like so far. I've just been playing around with it, trying to make sure it's going to upload correctly. I have talked to a few people. There are people who do not live here that are not able to get to the office when we do help them set up their portals and or print off their pay slips for them. There's a gentleman that I spoke to, and we have come up with a solution that if he will mail a self-stamped addressed envelope to our office, that we would actually print a pay slip and put that in his stamped envelope, and it would be sent back to him so that he can actually pay at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, or Casey's gas stations. So if anybody is interested in doing that, you can mail us a self-stamped addressed envelope to the 35984 Owl Drive, Park Hills 74451.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is that something you think I can put on the website for anybody that may not look at this, and just tell them that is there if they want to?
Yeah, I thought that's what you just did. I'm not going to swear to that. Is that what you just put on?
No, what I put on there was how to get a delinquent property, someone that's on the delinquent
Okay, but
list.
yes, if it's not
Okay,
on
so
there,
put
then
it on the
definitely.
web. Okay.
Yes,
And maybe
yes.
it is on there, but if it's not, I'll put it on there.
Okay, so that information should be on that pop-up box that when you go out to the website, 10killerharbor.com. If it's not there now, Susan will have that put up there as well. On the budget update, January 1st, 2022, we started out with just $28,512.98 in our general fund. We started this year with $90,149.48 in the bank account for the association dues. That $90,000, I know everybody's thinking like, well, we got plenty of money to do whatever. That $90,000 will actually just barely cover the fiscal year from January 2023 to December 2023 for the bare bones budget that I put together. We are only anticipating April 2023 dues roughly 85,000. And that's only based upon the people who paid for the 2022 dues. And also those people have not, all the ones that sent in checks have not opened their portals. The portal amount right now is 57%. So unless we get a lot more people open their portals and make their payments, then I'm not expecting that 85,000 to come through. As we've noted, we're not accepting the checks or the cash or money orders or anything to that effect. So need to get portals open and soon, I would hope, please. The amount that we spent last year versus the amount of money that we brought in, excuse me. We paid out approximately $110,000 for the year. That did include the $13,650 IRS taxes. But even when you deduct that, we still paid out over $95,000 in the regular bills. And as stated, our expected amount of 2023 is 85,000. So that's why I've said, in other words, like the money that's in there right now is enough that it will cover this year's bills if nothing unexpectedly happens, but that's just strictly the budget, nothing unexpected and no repairs or anything to that effect. For those who have not looked at the posted income statements or the budget that we have out there on the website and on also the income statement that goes up on the board monthly, the main bills that we have is for Harbor Patrol is $28,585. The trash, the utility bills, and just the plain general bills is $22,000. That does not include insurance, and it does not include anything for the pool or any means of taking in the dues, such as Appfolio. So just want to give you guys a brief now, like right there is our $60,000 basically by the time we get done with just that alone. 55. The next thing I want to go to is the Appfolio contract. So last year when we put that Appfolio together, it coincided unfortunately too close, but that's the way it turned out. It will be needing to be renewed May 1st. That is also when the interest starts accumulating on those unpaid 2023 dues. I have sent out you guys emails. Hopefully you have been able to read them and see that we need to do something. We need to decide if this is what we're going to continue with, or are we going to, if we want to go to something else, because we have a very narrow window if that's what we're going to do. Because it took me and Buck nights, days, hours, weekends, you name it, while everybody else was out doing their fun stuff, Easter and all that stuff, we were sitting here putting together Appfolio, CSV, I think that's how you say them, files, and getting all of the property owners to the right lots, try to get all the address, phone numbers, you name it, how many, So something that we really, honestly, we don't have to do this today on the Zoom, but we can also do it via, email if necessary. But just giving that out there, May 1st, it will either or renew, or we don't renew and we figure out what we're going to do for the rest of the year. Also, I want to point out that my POA credit card is what the initial contract started off with. And so once the monthly bill started coming in, it's an automatic debit to that POA credit card. And so if it does get renewed, I just want to point it that we probably need to change it over into, Susan's credit card information instead of mine, so that we won't be stuck in the middle. And then it doesn't, once my credit card's canceled, they'll still be able to bill and continue as forward.
Hey, Becky,
Yes,
do they
ma'am.
not offer the bank draft option, like an ACH debit?
That's how they said it. I haven't checked into it. I haven't contacted them as of yet because I wanted to make sure when I do contact them, what I'm telling them. In other words, like we are wanting to renew the contract, and then I want to, because when we first started, just to give you a little brief background, when we first started, we had to have 1,000 units. Regardless of whether we had 1,000 property owners or not, that was their contract we started out with, and Randy was involved, so I see you shaking your head that you understand what we had to do. So we had to have 1,000 units minimum, period. They were supposed to charge us $2 per unit, which would have been a $2,000 fee, and we told them we could not do that whatsoever. So they split it and actually only charged us $1. So our initial contract was $1,000. I don't know what this new contract will be, but we are not required to have that minimum of 1,000, because that 1,000 gave us the advantage of getting their help. They was here step by step the whole time. In other words, they trained me. Randy attended the classes as well. Any of the other board members had the opportunity to attend if they wanted to. I mean, it's like, can tell you how many Zoom meetings, hours worth of training over and over and over with multiple Appfolio people to get where we're at. And that's what that was started with. The units is 80 cents a unit. We are down to, if right now, we are down to 892 property owners. So we can actually go from 1,000 down to 892 minimally for the moment. And so that right there is already cutting, our price down. Did I answer your question? I'm sorry, Melissa.
Oh, I was just wondering, instead of doing a debit card draft, if they could do a bank account
Oh.
draft.
Like
That way,
everything
that way it doesn't,
affects
it's not
somebody else.
based on who's on the board. It just comes straight out of the bank account.
I will make note of that so that when we do contact them, when we tell them we want to, if we're wanting to continue the Appfolio contract, if they can take that as an ACH debit versus on the credit card. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yep, no problem.
One thing on the Appfolio, you said we don't know what the cost of the contract's gonna be for the next go around. That's kind of really important information before we make a decision on what we go or which direction we go. We need to know what that's gonna cost us.
Right, I agree with that too. I just want to make sure that, do we know, I don't know, I know you're not really on Appfolio other than your personal portal. I know Randy's on there because he does his architectural control forms through it. I know I'm on it and Susan's on it, and I would be glad, to train either one of you guys if you want. It's not a problem at all if you want to know any more, if you guys want to help on it, but if we want to keep it. It's like, so I want to be able to get your guys' input. Are you happy with it? Do you think that people are happy with it? Is it something to continue worth looking into?
And that type of input really doesn't matter if the cost is gonna be more than what we paid before. That's gonna be a big issue. We need to know how much it's gonna cost before we even start discussing whether we want to keep, because if it goes to the $2 like it was prior, and they cut a deal on it, like, basically to get the hook in, then we're gonna pay double next year. I mean, that's,
Yeah, I agree
that
with
can-
William. We really need to know what the cost is before we can have any meaningful conversation about whether to keep it or not. Because to be honest with you, if it's gonna cost just as much as it would to have a person in the office with
exactly.
the negative feedback that we have gotten from members, then you might as well have someone in the office. But then you also have to consider, if there's somebody in the office, we have to go back to having office software and finding a software and purchasing a software that someone can
Right.
run, and then hiring an individual who wants to work in the office. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we need to consider, but the very first point of information we need to know is how much is the Appfolio going to cost for next year?
Right. And
So,
it could be that the Appfolio, justifies itself by, against the cost of having somebody in the office and purchasing a software, but we don't know that until we know how much Appfolio is going to cost us.
right, so.
I am not proficient by any means on Appfolio, but I cannot even tell you how functional and how, that's not the word I want, how much information it provides without us actually having to go in and do anything. It's just there, they generate so many things. A lot of that information was vital for the CPA to use when we were dealing with all these back taxes and it was just
No,
a matter of printing off.
I'm not
Yeah.
questioning that at all. I'm sure it has great supporting software. But like William's bringing up, if this is going to cost more than having someone in the office, when you balance that against the feedback from the members, that's
So I can give you some figures of if you would have continued this last 2022 with an office manager, her wages was $1,750 a month, $1,750 a month, which equals $21,000 a year. If we paid let's just say, even if we paid the $2,000 that they require to get a contract renewed for 1 year, and then if we don't have to have the added support, because like I said, Susan's probably going to cover it as well on her section, but she's been putting a manual together on everything I've been training her on, and I've been doing some on my own. But let's just say it's $2,000 to start out the contract. And if it's 80 cents per unit, we have 892. And we also have roughly 12, give or take 12 bills. That's $1.50 that they process, that they upload for us and take care of it. And all we have to do is just balance the AppFolio with the bank account. So that's going to say less, roughly, what would that be? I don't have my calculator on here, but I was trying to do this the other day. I want to say it was roughly $725 a month. Is that what I have on that one? 730. That's what I sent out in the email. I don't know if you guys got the email or not. It was sent out Wednesday, January the 18th. So it's like $730 a month, times 12. You got a calculator?
You're seeing about, you're seeing about $1,000 a month, plus you got IRS fees, social security fees, taxes, and
Exactly. Exactly. And like you just said, not only do you have the 21,000, give or take, if that's what we would hire somebody in as, is you still have to have the software somehow or another, to have like the DAC Easy that we had. There are, of course, other accounting packages, whatever I'm trying to say, that they could use. I just still think, even if it is the 2,000, and that it's still much cheaper, and you don't have to have an office manager. You don't have to have, when you do have an office manager, I think I also sent that out in that email that I sent to you guys, that once we start providing an office, once we start providing the supplies, that person is now considered an employee, not a contractor. And with an employee, then that means that we have to go back to what we just finished paying all these taxes, back taxes and stuff on, was because you had to file quarterly, a 940 and 941. Then you have all of your Oklahoma State income, FICA, not sure what all you have, but in other words, like, we'd get right back to where we were at. Whereas right now, with contractors only, at the beginning of the year, we have their 1099s and a 1096, and we have a corporation form that we get filed by March the 31st. That's simplicity that we're at right now.
And even, I'm sorry, even if we didn't go with an office manager and wanted to consider another company, the members don't want electronic office management. They don't care what company it is, but they don't understand that that's just the way of the world today, and the convenience and all of that, whether it's AppFolio or any other company, that's just the way of the world. And because we're so far from the bank, if you have somebody in the office, then you're setting the harbor up for possible embezzlement funds being stolen, paying for somebody that may or may not even be sitting in the office. So there's a lot of pros and cons on each side to think about.
Yeah.
So,
When
If
can
you
we
said it-
expect the cost of next year's contract so that we can make a decision?
I will try to contact those people, this week and
Okay.
see who I need to talk to and what their prices for 2023 are going to be and what are our, requirements to have that contract would be.
Okay, and also too, will you see if there are like any set number of your guarantees as to price? That way, the first couple of years is kind of cheap, but then it explodes after 2 or 3 years, the prices goes up. Can you see how long that we are guaranteed a certain price? Like, is there any of that sort of time frame?
Like a cost lock or something.
I understand what you're asking. Susan just said a cost lock. Just in my personal opinion, it's like a contract is a contract. Your contract for 1 year, it's like, and that's basically what you get. I mean, I can ask them if there's such a thing that we can
Right,
do
but I
that
mean, I
way.
do it all the time at work with businesses, like we sell them a contract, it's a 1-year contract, but we will guarantee this price for 5 years. So, that there's not going to be a rate increase next year when you make the decision for this year.
Maybe there's an option if you agree to go out longer than a year, maybe they'll, how like the cell phone companies do.
Well, I deal with contracts a lot, and if you sign up for a 3-5 year contract, they will lock you in. But if you only sign up for 1-year contract, anything past 1 year is not a guarantee.
Yeah.
Right. But then I also
I'm
want to
saying
point
that-
out that if you do sign a 3-year contract, that they will hold you to that 3-year contract as well. So that's kind of what we were facing when we canceled the phone, because apparently there was a 2-year contract signed based on the information I was given, and they actually, after giving them our, I guess you could say, sob story about our finances, they forgave us the next year's worth, and they also didn't even charge us a disconnect fee.
Yeah,
But that was one, who knows what the other people would or would not do. So in other words, like, we would be guaranteed that we would be having this bill for the next 3 years. And I just want to say that I didn't go through all of my budget thing that I was wanting to talk to y'all about, but I didn't know. Honestly, it's like, if we don't get the portals open and we don't receive the monies that we can expect from, based on the 2022 amount of property owners that have paid, which is, like I said, approximately 85,000. That 85,000, if we get that, is what we start the year of 2024 with. So whatever we get, if we don't start it, like, our budget is roughly $90,000. If we don't get that money to start next year with, we only have to how long that money will pay. That's what we have. That's what we are facing. So I don't know if you want to guarantee yourself a 3-year contract with something if you don't know if you have the monies to pay it.
Right, but we're also like limiting ourselves on, because you have people that absolutely do not want to open that portfolio. They don't trust the electronic system. They're afraid they're going to get hacked. I mean, we've obviously got hack issues.
Yeah,
They can
but we
take
can,
a
yeah, they can
but
take
we're-
a pay slip.
Pay
They can
slip.
take a pay slip.
Right.
Yeah.
But they have to open the app folio to do that, and they
With
get
an
their pay
email
slip.
address.
If they don't use, computers, I mean, you have to take all that in consideration, and then we're cutting our own throats, because we're saying that these people, we know they're not going to pay if they don't have the app folio, and we don't know what we can afford because they're not going to pay, but we refuse to take their check and their money order. I mean, we're kind of doing it to ourselves.
Okay, let me
We-
just go back and say this. It's like, Randy, Susan, and I have already said that we will be there March to help anybody if they want to come in. They do not have to have an email address. We will provide them an email address. We will set them up in their portfolio. We will log their email address and their sign-in password for them. We will print them a payslip, write the amount of money that they owe, and hand it to them in person. And then all they have to do is go to Walmart and pay it. And then the people who are not here to come in and pick it up personally, if they will send us a self-stamped envelope with their address and everything on there, then we will print them off a payslip, write the amount of money they owe. They just take it, mail it, they receive it, they take it to Walmart, they pay it. I personally, like I said, I gave over, my whole year last year, but the 3 months for sure, March, April, May, I did not have a life because I personally processed over $70-something thousand worth of checks. I got 1 month's worth of $48,000 worth of checks. And if you can imagine that nobody paid more than $200 basically for the most of that, I'm not doing that again. And I don't know if anybody, I have offered all last year. If somebody else wants to come in here, I'll be glad to train them. I've offered to do the same thing with Susan, and Susan's, after I explained all that to her, she's like, no, I don't want to do that either. It's a process. You have to take a check. We have 2 separate banks. You have a check that has both the association dues and the road funds on there. You have to take, and you personally have to go into Appfolio, make this payment to make it go into 2 different bank accounts. But then you still have to keep a spreadsheet so that you know how much money of that is going to have to be transferred out of the general dues fund into the road fund, so that you do that once a month. But you got to keep a track of every single check that comes in and how many lots they have, and do a spreadsheet and separate those out. Then you have to take those checks and you have to take them to the bank, which is over on the far side, because we can't get to Gore right now, on the far side of Tahlequah, and they have to run bukus of checks, needless to say, through the feeder. They get jammed up. They don't get half of them. In other words, you spend basically 15-20 minutes just waiting for them to get everything ran through properly. Once you get all of that, then you still have to do a transfer from the checking account to the road fund checking account, and you have to go into Appfolio and you have to mimic every single thing that you just did through the bank, through Appfolio, so that they match. That's just for 1 check. And
Which
now,
you're gonna have to do that whether you have Appfolio or general accounting
that's
software.
exactly right. That's exactly
Because
right.
it's
That's what
2
they do with
separate
that.
revenue funds that has to be kept track of. It's not just a simple, we're gonna take the check and drop it in the bank and put it in put the information in.
Exactly. It's a process. And you also had to, when Jodell and Haley were in there, they actually had to copy every single check, every single penny. I've seen where Jodell has actually put money on the printer, and actually photocopy exactly everything that they handed her. And then now you've got all the money that you're having to pay on paperwork to put in the file to show that you've received somebody's money, which then can turn around and come back and say, well, I paid. Well, did you get a slip? Did somebody write you out? And that was the other thing. She had to write receipts out as well. So, and then they had to keep track of the receipts and make sure who paid and who didn't pay. And if they get lost, then who's to say they ever paid it? In Appfolio, we do not touch no money. Nobody's money is touched whatsoever. Their checking account, their credit cards, we do not see any of that stuff. That was the other thing. Since they photocopied every single check, all of that information, checking account, you name it, your address, phone number, the whole 9 yards, was all paper trails, and they're all up there in the storage unit for years. Okay, so every single check that's come through here has been documented and has been photocopied as well. Then the credit cards, if somebody called in a credit card, you actually had to physically take their credit card number, write it down, hang up from the phone with those people, call the bank service, which I think is called merchant services or something like that. Call them and then put in all of that credit card information as well on the phone. Okay, so here you're setting it out again on the phone, and getting it processed and stuff, and then hope that check, that information actually gets shredded.
So I think that maybe we need to impress upon to people that their bank account information is much more secure using Appfolio than it is using an office staff person. That maybe is some.
100%.
So
Absolutely.
here's the thing is that is not something I have ever heard up until now. So maybe we need to put that out there and look, this is a much more secure, this is a much more secure option than us taking your money. And the opportunity for theft and fraud is going to go down. We
I
have
do
already
fraud
been
I
victims
do
of
fraud
fraud.
investigations for a living. That's what I do
Yeah,
for a living.
Right, I understand that, but that's not something that we have been directly told up until this point. I mean, even as, you know, just people watching this are going to be the only ones to know that.
Exactly. I did.
So that's something that we need to put out at a members meeting.
I did do that last year. I don't know, like I said, how many people came and actually listened and understood all of that, or cared to listen to all of that. But
Sometimes you have to reinforce, and I mean, we've been telling them for a year and a half that they can't write checks, and we're still getting checks in the mail. I mean, sometimes you just have to continue to reinforce the same thing. Like every time we mention Appfolio, we need to say this is the most fraud resistant option that we have.
right.
And you have to understand that a lot of the people that are like not liking the system are older folks that
Oh, that's
you
good.
know, that is the computer thing in itself is something they don't want anything to do with. I mean, I worked with guys before that, I mean, we'd bring in brand new machines that run way better than the machines they had, but they would rather push 87 buttons to load a program than 2. And you know, because the technology changed.
Right.
The
Don't want to
older
learn
folks
anything
just
new.
don't want to get it. They don't want to.
They may not want to, William, but they're going to have to. It's the way the world is moving. We can't stop the world because we've got a few codgery old folks in our neighborhood.
Just go to Walmart. You gotta go through the automatic checker now.
That's right. I mean, you know, like I said, I have put this out there. It's like, if anybody would like to volunteer and do this, you know, they're more than welcome to take it and do it. I have no qualms in giving that over to anybody. If they want to, you know, but they will have to take the responsibility. It will not come back to me that their check now is, you know, somebody's drained their banking account because I failed to put a piece of paper someplace in a safe place because I had to make a photocopy of it. You know, it's like, or I took your credit
That just
card.
opens us up to more liability because then we've got to worry about somebody dealing with a fraud issue.
Right. And also the Appfolio, and I don't know about any of the others. I have not really researched any of them, but they are the, what do you call it, bank encrypted? That's their standards. They're like a checking account. I mean, if anybody has a checking account and has anything that they do online, then it's exactly the same thing. They're bank encrypted. But anyway, I don't want to spend you guys' whole time talking about all of that, but I will contact the Appfolio. I will ask them what our contract amount would be, what we would be required, and try to get all that information and send that out to you guys. And then we do need to make a decision, you know, very fast, once you have that information. And then the last thing that I have on my personal is, I want to put out there to those people who may or may not be listening, and or those people, you guys as friends, or this coming July, excuse me, is the end of my term. I am not going to be seeking re-election, so my position will be up, and I'm hoping that somebody will step up that hopefully has, if not an accounting degree, understanding that they, you know, how to do a budget, how, you know, it's not hard, as Susan can contest to that. It's not hard once you get in Appfolio, it's just knowing your steps. And we're trying to write that all out so that, you know, it's just step by step by step. So if somebody is
So
interested.
we need to put out there that the treasurer position will be open.
Yes. For sure. And even if it's a committee, I mean, if they need, 2 or 3 people to do what I've been doing, and now with Susan's help, if they, if Susan's gonna be needing 2 or 3 people to be able to help her, since she works a full-time job. And if she needs 2 or 3 people, then we can do it like an accounting committee if necessary. Have a treasurer and have a secretary, or, whatever her position would be, or whatever at that time, but also have help. But I need to try teaching them as soon as possible. So if somebody is interested now, please contact me, or contact one of the other board members, and so we can get something set, started.
Well, but the problem with that is they may not get voted in.
Well, if they're on a
Right.
committee, they don't have to be, but
So at the minimum, like I said, if they have a committee, then we'll have somebody who understands and knows it. I think they would also have a more, what am I trying to say? A better opportunity to be voted in if they know that they know Appfolio, they know how to do a budget, in other words, like they know the position. I think they would be more apt, that's the word I'm looking for. I think they would be more apt to be voted in as a board member.
Well, I don't care.
Yeah, that they'd be more qualified for the position, so people would most likely vote for them.
Right, exactly. That's my thoughts as well. And I mean, we didn't have, we had 5, and we've used all 5 since July. People that, were ran for the board, so that, just kind of give you an idea there. So, only other, and that's all. I'm gonna go back to you, Randy, at this point. That's all I had. I just want you guys to start thinking about the fact that, and I'll get you the information for Appfolio, what we want to do about that. And if you know somebody who would like to learn Appfolio and take possible either committee or treasurer's position whenever I end my term in July. That's all I have, Randy.
Okay, Becky, thanks for your comments on treasurer. Next, we had the vice president, Susan, to discuss some items.
mine's gonna be pretty short because we've already talked about a lot of it. Again, we've been saying this, I know, ever since I came into office. We cannot accept any checks. Please contact us and we will help come up with some options for you to get your dues paid. The statements will be emailed out on March 1st with the 2023 dues. We had 3 lots up for bid, 2 were a package deal, and as of today, right, no bids
No.
on any of them.
Haven't received
So
anything in the
I don't
mail
know
on
if
it.
we want to leave them out there under bid with the parameters we already had. Do we want to
I
consider?
think we should leave them because honestly, it's winter time and that's a slow sales period.
Well, it
People
was
are
also
going to be
Christmas
looking.
time. People were using their money for holidays and stuff.
Yeah, people are gonna start looking again in the spring and in the summer. I think we just leave it, roll it
It's not
I
over.
agree.
costing us
Yeah, it's
anything.
not costing us anything. so.
We've already
Yeah.
paid the taxes, so.
Okay. So should we take a
Okay,
vote on
well-
that, please, or
Well,
what?
I know there's 2 properties out there on Timber and in Cherokee. I've looked at myself. I think we mark the front, at least the front pins of that property. Maybe we will get more interest because there's a lot of things there. There's telephone poles, there's some of those step sanitary concrete structures out front.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I drove by the other day and honestly, I think even if we just put a for sale sign up, it would be helpful.
And
I
that
don't-
might catch people that just drive through looking
Yeah.
Right.
for
I
stuff, or they're
think
looking at the
I-
Century 21 signs.
Yeah.
I think I have a for sale sign at my house. I think, pretty sure.
I mean, we could buy them at Dollar General for $1.
Yeah. Well,
$1 or $1.25.
Jennifer Veer,
Okay, I want to say out in the community center, the closet's got a bunch of those wire frames that you put some for sale signs in.
Okay.
So maybe some of those could be used, but I think if we advertise it better and keep it at the same dollar amounts for now.
That's too hard.
That sounds best to me.
So do you know, Randy, when you said something about marking the pins and stuff, have you, I don't know if have you looked yourself or are you just suggesting?
Oh, I mean, I'm not interested in properties myself, but I'm suggesting
No, I
that,
meant the property pins. You
yeah,
said about marking them.
yeah, if we get somebody to mark just the front, if we mark the front, then people driving up there have an idea of where that property starts, where it ends. Right now, they pull up there, they're not really sure. I've had a few people ask me about that. I don't know for sure myself. I know it's right at that intersection. I know what it looks like, but I can't tell when one,
One
you know,
lot starts
marker
and the other
starts and
one
one
ends.
ends. Yeah.
Do we have a metal detector to do that with?
I don't. Does anybody else?
We
Well,
have
no,
a
I
metal
don't.
detector. I don't know how good it is, but we do have one.
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3. I got to pull them out of the garage. I haven't used them for a few years. But yeah, we
Yeah,
just,
or we could use those old garage sale signs and paint over them and turn them into for sale signs with contact information.
Yeah, I know there's,
That's hope, that's.
I don't know, I can't tell you the name at the moment, but there are like bukus of
Keep it in your pants.
somebody who ran for the board 100 years ago. Signs like you're talking about, they're on little metal, you know, but they're, in other words, there are informations on both sides of that piece of paper. So somebody would have to like spray paint it, I guess, and then write for sale sign on it or something like that. But I'm just letting you know that there are some signs in there if we don't do something different. Go ahead, Susan. I'm sorry.
Okay, well then we'll just leave it as is for now. If we're all in agreement. Randy, were you gonna say
Randy,
something?
yeah,
we've got
I-
lots of background conversation going on from
Yeah.
your end.
yeah. I've been muted mostly, but yeah, I'd like to recommend keeping the properties up for sale for the same dollar amount, but marking them more effectively so we get more hits on it.
Okay, so for sale sign and pins located and kept as same price.
Yeah.
How are we gonna
yeah,
locate the pins?
we'd have to either locate them ourselves or we'd have to, hire maybe a local person to do that. I mean, I'm not willing to pay for a surveyor out there, but we need to get a general idea on where the pins are.
Well, I know Keith knows how to find them. I don't know if he's ever needed to use he had to use a metal detector to do it.
Right.
So the harbor used to own a metal detector from what he's saying, but I mean, that could have disappeared years ago.
I don't know. I haven't been in
Yeah,
the storage unit or anything like that, so I don't have a clue if there's one in there or not.
Yeah.
I've actually paid to have mine done before, and the original pins will not be on the surface. You will need a metal detector to find them.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
just give us, William, a ballpark figure of, not that you have to give us the amount that you paid, but a ballpark figure to expect?
It's been a little while. I think I paid him $125.
Wow, when we bought our
125,
property
150.
on Saddleback, they wanted $800 to come pin three lots.
So that was to survey it though, right?
No, to find the pins. It was,
Oh, wow.
it was some guy wanted to come from Tahlequah and he wanted $800 and we said, no, thank you. Just-
No,
Yeah.
I may not, I
Let's
may be
go
wrong.
with it.
It might have been a couple $100, but I mean, it was definitely below $800 without a
Yeah,
doubt.
ours was
Below
$800.
$800.
We said no.
Well,
Well,
It's
below
not
800.
that hard. It's just like you said, we've pinned all of our lots actually. So it's like, you
It's just
just have
tedious.
to take a tape measure, start from a corner that you know where you do find a pin, and then do your calculations down to the lot that you're at and go from there. Once
Yeah,
you locate
well-
one pin, it's not so hard to locate the second one.
I can tell you that if we can secure or find a metal detector, Keith will do it for free.
Okay, I think Randy said he may have one, but
I think we have one
and
too.
Susan, so.
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3,
Okay. Well,
So-
let's try to stay on top of it then. We already talked about Appfolio training. I'm I kind of got derailed in December because my life just revolved around what was going on right at my property. So I'm trying to get started on that again. I am working on a manual to try to put things in to help someone have something at their hands to look at. The meeting notice sign over there by Dawn and Rosie's place. Rosie let us know that she doesn't want to keep that up anymore. She doesn't want to do that. So from here on out, all of which they are anyway, our meetings will be listed on the website, on the Appfolio calendar, and on the bulletin board with the agendas and minutes. So we're going to discontinue that. The only other thing I have on my list here is along with myself, but there are several residents on my street, West Phillip. There are two particular members that absolutely drive ridiculously fast, and I don't know how to remedy that. I know the Harbor Patrol went out and spoke to one of them, and that member slowed down for a while, but it's very, very dangerous the way these two particular ones that come to mind more than anybody, how they drive up and down the road. I don't know if we can have sheriff come out and clock them, because I can tell you exactly what time they go by every day, but it's very dangerous, and a visit from Harbor Patrol really didn't do anything. And it's not just me, it's several people up and down the road. If I'm outside, they'll stop and say, such and such. Yep, I sure do, but not sure how to remedy that even after they've been chatted with.
Yeah, I'd say it's something you need to talk to the county sheriffs that willing to come out for a day and hit some roads up.
Okay, so it's okay for me to call them, you think? Or should maybe Don, because he has a relationship with them.
Oh, okay. Anybody in the community can call and ask. It would probably be more if one of us or Don were to call though.
Okay. All right. I may talk to Don because he'll probably have a better handle on who maybe to talk to. So that's all I have. The only, well, go ahead, Randy. I guess I need to turn it back to you. That's all I have of my stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the last item on the old business agenda there. And then we get into new business, anything that's recently occurred since the last meeting.
Randy, I think you have an update on the heater, don't you?
Yes, a community center heater was fixed. It is now producing heat. Initially, I went in there and I replaced the surface igniter, which actually ignites the gas, and I replaced the flame sensor. It detects when the flames are actually burning and not. It tended to be a deeper situation than that. Everything was working great. It's just the seems no gas was getting into the furnace. So I contacted a local HVAC company. They came in and they verified it was the gas regulator, which controls the gas flow. And I talked to my own maintenance people down at the city where I work. And they said about $450 was the going price, and that was on the cheap side for one of these things. So I did contact HVAC, and they came up with about $450. I haven't been invoiced yet. I'm still waiting for the invoice to come in, but they did replace the item, verified if they was producing heat, and I think it's safe to rent it out if anyone asks now.
Wow.
Okay,
Okay.
it's good to know.
Okay, so as soon as I get it invoiced, then I'll produce the invoice as soon as I get it.
He was
So-
dandy-fied.
All right, just some new items, things that have occurred in the last 30 days, to give people some updates. Okay, that's already the community center discussed the security. Yeah, someone did try stealing and one of that new fold up picnic bench that was donated, I want to say about a year and a half ago. Somebody tried dismantling it and putting it back in the truck, got spooked and left it. The guys picked it up and put it inside the community center. So it's got to be put back together, got to find all the nuts and bolts. So we have some thieves in the neighborhood who don't care about other people's property. You go ahead.
Was that one of those ones, I believe that's the newest one that Jennifer Riley donated last year.
Yeah,
Um, Is it not, I hate to say it like this, but is it not chained to a tree or something like that?
Yes, it was.
I guess they dismantled it to disconnect it probably from the tree, most likely. But I
Once
saw,
they did that, it would come to loose.
yeah, but you know, Butch said they did secure it in the center, and I took a look at quickly when I was working on the furnace, and it may need some bolts. I don't know if all the bolts are there. I have to go back outside and look to where it was, see if they're laying on the ground or not. So we're gonna have to put that thing back together. So next item, the last 30 days, we've had some incidents in the neighborhoods for security wise. We've got some people with some emotional issues, some mental disease possibly. Could be mostly family members. I'd recommend not approaching some of these people. I've witnessed some of them myself, and they're kind of dangerous out there. Calling the sheriff's department might not necessarily be the best thing to do because they don't want to take them. So it's a real issue in our neighborhood, but I say I'm not gonna mention names. I don't want to mention names, but we do have people in the neighborhood that are kind of borderline. You might want to be careful out there how you approach some people.
If they're
Why would the sheriff
dangerous,
not
then we
take
need
them?
to call the sheriff.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
sheriff,
what, I mean, when he said the sheriff won't take them, what do you mean by that?
well, unless they've actually created a
It's doing better.
offense, a criminal offense, they're not going to pick them up and take them to a mental health facility. From what I've been hearing, there is no facility to take them to in this county. They would have to haul them up to like Tulsa or somewhere. So it's not guaranteed that we can pick them up and put them somewhere. It's up to really the sheriff's department and whatever facilities they have.
Honestly, creating a disturbance is technically a criminal offense. So it's the
Right.
sheriff's department that's just refusing to take action.
To deal
Yeah.
with it, yeah.
Yeah, it could be. They just don't want to deal with it sometimes. I've got a lot of issues like that where I work at right next door, and there's not a real need of wanting to pick these people up or do anything with them. They most just leave them where they're at and to continue on. So that's an ongoing situation no matter where you live at. So I
Yeah.
just want people to be aware of there's some issues in the neighborhood with a few people. Not mention any names. Be careful how you approach these people because they could end up being dangerous to you. So, all right, thefts. We still have thefts and items. Sheriff's departments come through the neighborhood on a few petty thefts and all. So we do have some people out there picking up things that are not secured correctly. We got some doors left open, found open. So people need to be aware of your area and of your neighbors. Your neighbors aren't necessarily at their house all the time. So be a good neighbor and, keep an eye out for anything that looks unusual. We had an incident, most here already know about it. No names mentioned, I guess. Some neighbors confronted another neighbor concerning speeding up and down the roads. They got pretty verbal. Someone was drugged down the road a little bit. So I just ask people when they're here for the weekends and try not to drink and drive, first of all. And try not to start any issues. I mean, that's all I can ask for. So
Yeah.
lastly, architectural. I keep having to remind people that they have to submit their applications via Appfolio. I'm getting a lot of emails with, hey, I want to do this. Okay, you need to take your email and you need to submit via Appfolio, but they don't want to. I can't process it. I can't pass it to committee members. Can't track it if it's sent in the email. So everybody needs to submit their Appfolio request via email. They need to have the form filled out and attached. They need to have any diagrams attached. It all needs to be attached to this Appfolio. Otherwise, we can't process it. If they don't provide the information, then we can't proceed with their approval. So it's up to them. People need to know what the restrictions are for the neighborhood. I mean, they read it first before you want to build something. All
So
right,
I've got a
and-
question. When we come
Yeah.
up with people who are doing things that are not yet approved, are we visiting with those folks and saying, hey, we need you to follow the process, or are we just letting it go?
I've been going to properties and I've been talking to these people. I've already. And a lot of people in this neighborhood think that, well, it's easier to just do it and then later on ask for forgiveness. That's the
Mhm.
mindset a lot of people have. But if I see a land being cleared, I try to keep an eye on it to see if they try to do anything more than just clearing the land. So as I see them, I've been talking to them, and most of them are submitting, after I talk to them, they are submitting the forms, the proper forms, but I have to approach them and talk to them first. And that's kind of hard because, like I said, I work weekdays. Like by the time I come home at night, it's dark already. So weekends the
Yeah.
only time I can get out there and really look around. You do not start any work unless you have the approval first. Please don't do the work and then ask to put the stuff in. So that's all I'm asking the community to do.
Are we
So-
doing any fining of people who are,
There have actually been no fines submitted so far, if anything. I have submitted some notices here. I'll show you something. I have been posting some of these, like, oh, it's out of focus here. I'm trying to get into focus. For some reason,
Yeah,
it's not
it's
focusing. But anyway, it says POA violation notice, and I have been putting them on some properties saying what the violation is, just to let them know that, hey, it's been recognized. And like I say, I put one on that porta pot and it was gone pretty quickly after that, for example. And I've been putting it on some people. So there's no fine attached to it, just to let them know that, hey, we've seen the issue and you need to fix it. And most people have been fixing it without anything further happening.
good?
So, but I
I mean,
can't be,
that's
yeah.
the goal, right?
Yeah.
The goal is not to find people.
oh, I don't want to find, I want them to take more self-motivation to fix their own issue. I don't want to get in their personal business. I just want to make sure the restrictions are followed and people do what they're supposed to do. I really don't want to dip into the pockets, threaten courts, lawyers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I drive around, I talk to a lot of interesting neighbors in the neighborhood. So, and I listen to them. So I'm making contact with people out there on the weekends. That's all I got to say, really. Anybody got any questions?
I think the only other thing we need to figure out is the meeting for February. Meeting date.
I need to say something real quick about the bathrooms.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple new business things too.
Can we start with the
So-
bathrooms? Yeah.
So,
Yes.
I received 0 responses to the request for a community member in relation to the restrooms and evaluating the bathrooms to see what needs to be done and in what order that we can get it done. 0. So I will be contacting contractors to see if I can start getting bids. And I'm going to delineate to them I'm going to express to them that it needs to be delineated so that we can, check off one item at a time and possibly fix the most important thing first, and then the second thing, and then the third thing, so that we may not have anyone who can do any kind of structural repairs. We might have to pay for that to get done, but then we might have someone who is a tile setter who could do the tile work. But we need to get quotes for that, and not a single soul out of the 890 something property owners we have responded to volunteer their time. So now we are going to have to go out of the harbor to possibly maybe have to spend a little bit of money.
I say do it. I mean, it needs to be done, and the sooner we get on top of it, the sooner it's taken care of.
Yeah.
You can't just keep waiting. We just need to move forward and do what we got to do.
Yeah. So I'll be starting to contact contractors this week.
Okay.
Hmm.
It's like if all, I mean,
Okay.
once you get an actual total amount, you know, that's gonna be able to present that to the community. And like you said, if you got an actual item, you know, that they can, maybe somebody can volunteer to do. Or, and this would strictly be, it wouldn't be through Appfolio or through the POA, so to speak, but if people would like to donate, then, you know, if somebody wants to head that project up, even to buy the items needed, or to pay a contractor if we have to do that as well.
Yeah.
That's all I have
So
to say.
I'll be starting to work on that.
Okay.
And that's it. That's all I've got.
Okay, William, you had something to say?
Yeah, okay, so as far as the area around the office, gravel and the dumpster areas, somebody has gone and put gravel down. I don't know who did it, who, you know, if that money came out of the road fund, any of that information, but, my whole thing is none of us are professionals in the stuff we took. I mean, all of you guys had to learn that folio thing. Randy, Melissa, you guys got to learn the pool or had to learn the pool stuff. I've done my due diligence to be able to know what needs to be done to those roads. And so somebody's gone in there and put gravel down, but they didn't dig the potholes out. 2 weeks later, the potholes are showing back up again. December 20th, I asked for a vote to rent a tractor to do that area. That one never went to vote. Now yesterday, as I was leaving, the gentleman that lives behind the office, I'm not sure what his name is,
James Highland.
used his tractor and graded that whole road. He should not have had to done that. And these members are looking at me like I'm not doing anything. I want these members to know I asked for a vote December 20th. Susan even reached out after the fact and said, hey, this is still out there and hasn't been voted on. I never got a tractor, and yet these people are doing this work out here that they shouldn't have to do, because that's our responsibility. That's my responsibility. And the importance of having a vote to put that out is because the last time it was done, I went out of my own pocket. I went and rented a tractor for however many days we had to have it, all that stuff. I got reimbursed. The problem with that is if members or anybody raises issue with the money being spent, my money's tied up without a vote. I'm the one sitting holding the bag because there was never a vote to actually go out and rent that tractor by the board. So people need to know that it's not me sitting on my hands trying to get stuff done. I asked for a vote. It never got put to vote. And that's the issue.
So where are we sitting with the gentleman who is willing to donate his tractor? Honestly, I feel like that got kind of glossed over, and that's something that we could have
That
easily
absolutely
taken
did.
care of at the last meeting.
That's one of the things that I want to talk about on my new business. I mean, that's still in limbo. The other thing is, okay, so as far as roads and fixing roads and things like that, I've been asked to supply estimates for chip seal, estimates for equipment, estimates for gravel. And I've done all that. I still can't get to a point where I can present to the members a plan or an options. And I'll be the first ones. I still have not contacted Zach Mode's friend about chip seal. But the reason I have not done that is because I'm not going to waste that man's time like I have everybody else's to come out here and give me an estimate on a job that he's probably not going to get.
He's told me that chip seal is 147 a cubic foot.
Right. And and the gentleman that I talked to, Oklahoma Paving and Chip Seal, will do it for $1.
Oh, well, that's good.
I've provided that. But my thing is that guy's upset because this is drug out so long. I'm not going to bring Zach's friend in to get an estimate because it's going to drag out so long. What I want is exactly what you want from me to be able to move this forward and present to the board. I want it black and white, exactly what you want. So when I provide it, it can go to the members and we can actually get something done. I'm tired of sitting back, not getting anything done, not being able to rent tractors when we need equipment. I mean, my idea is if the members decide to go with gravel, we got a $15,000 buffer that we set aside for emergency use. I mean, if you want me to measure every road and tell you how much it's going to cost, buy me the wheel to measure it. I'll go out and do it. But my idea is if they choose gravel, we start dumping gravel until we don't have any money to dump gravel or all the roads are covered.
Okay, so can I jump in now?
Absolutely.
So not to be sitting here, I'm like not wanting to cause arguing or anything to that effect, but whenever you did ask for a vote, it was on December the 18th, and then it didn't get asked. And then Susan sent another email out and says, so where are we at on this? And then it never come back. But I never heard back from you either, William, to say, hey, I asked for this vote. So where are we at on this? I thought, give me a vote.
Okay.
Contact
So,
him personally if necessary.
right. Do I have to ask 50 times for a vote? It was an official ask for a vote. It should have went through the process. It was
Right,
brought
but I
up
mean-
again and still didn't go through the process.
Okay, let's just, let's set a date to vote. Okay, we got it. Is there any way we can resubmit it? It's in one email. Say this is the proposal. Let's vote right now. Can we do that?
It
now?
was one email and there's no need for a tractor around the office
Yeah.
area now because members have jumped in and done the work.
Oh,
So
no,
we don't
you-
need that vote now.
I went by the trash today. There is there's no way you go around on the office side because it is nothing but mud holes all the way around.
The big potholes are still there.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, and I was questioned on this before. This is why I'm kind of a little upset about this because I've done my research and I know what needs to be done to get rid of those potholes. You can Google or YouTube any video on how to fix potholes in a gravel driveway. They will tell you the outside ring of that pothole is hard packed. And it doesn't matter what you put in that hole, it's not going to be as hard packed as the outside ring. You have to rip that outside ring out. There's enough gravel in that driveway that if we get a tractor and rip out the potholes and then smooth everything down and grade it so the water drains off of the driveway or the parking lot itself, we won't keep having the issues. But going in there dumping gravel over the top of potholes and grading over the top of it, 2 weeks after that was done, the potholes were already showing back up again.
Okay, so I kind of was like, not wanting to go this route on here at this point in time, but this is the way we're going to be going. When you said that you didn't get your budget and your plan and stuff, and that you've gone out and done all of that, when I ask you for a budget and a plan, what I'm asking you is this, is that, when you get me like $1 a square yard or $1.47 a square yard or foot or whatever to that effect, and then you also gave us the amount that it would take to chip seal your road, Canyon Rock, even though that's not acceptable because of the condition of that road.
It gives you a visual of the length of the area at the
Right.
cost.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But you gave us an example, like this is how much this would cost us to do one chip and seal. With the amount of money that we have in the budget in our road fund right now, my personal opinion is chip and seal is not the way to go because you're only going to be able to do 2 or 3 roads if that's where you don't know where you want to start it at. Somebody's going to get
agree with you.
upset the fact that you don't do that in their yard.
I agree with you 100% on the chip seal. I don't think that's the right option to go. I think we can cover.
My personal opinion, start having people line up with truckloads of gravel, put as much gravel down as you can on the places that need it, that can accept it. Don't be putting it on something that's just going to wash down the road, of course. Get your tractor vote in, go around the office area, do what you think needs to be done and get that taken care of. If we need more after that, then we can proceed after that. But
Can I make-
that money is
That's
just
what I've been
sitting there
trying to do
doing
for the last
absolutely
3
nothing.
months.
Can I interject something here?
Yeah,
The whole point behind the road fund to begin with was to be able to permanently fix 1 or 2 roads a year. We are not going to get every single road fixed in 1 year, gravel or not. Gravel is not going to do any good, just simple gravel, because it's all eventually going to wind up in the ditches because the ditches aren't being taken care of. If we chip seal 1 or 2 roads a year, yes, it's going to take a long time, but that was the original intention behind the road fund to begin with.
okay. But
It
here's
was
the-
never
here's the other
intended
thing.
to fix all of the roads simultaneously.
That
It was
done
to
in
come up with a
2011.
more permanent solution over
I-
time. And yes, there's going to be unpopular decisions made because somebody's road got done over someone else's. But if you do the more populous areas first, regardless of who lives on them, it will eventually, over time, all get done.
Okay,
If
so I'm
we
gonna jump
waste
in on
all,
that
if we
too.
spend money on gravel on all of these roads, we are putting rock in ditches. That's all we're doing, and we're wasting
Yeah.
money.
Well, that's,
Okay.
and part of that with the rock is one, you have to clean the ditches. You have to have clean tin horns across the driveways.
Okay,
and
so
you
then
have to-
let's just
and
do
you have
it
to pitch-
then.
Right. You have to pitch the road in a way that it will drain off of the road. So,
But you need to have
The
somebody
box
who
blade-
knows how to do that, though.
right. I
So
can
that's
do
why I
that. The
say
box blade,
get a
the box
contractor
blade
if
will
you got-
move. The box blade will move this way. It will move this way. My hands, it'll move this way. It'll move this way. When you start down one side of the road, you tilt it this way. So there's a peak in the middle of the road and the water runs off into the ditch.
Right.
If you
Okay.
don't do that with the parking lot around the trash and angle it toward either the ditches or the property, I mean, you're not talking like over there, floods of water are going to run off of there, but you angle it toward the properties and you angle it away from the center of the parking lot, and that will drain off. That's what causes the pothole is water will sit. And as you drive over it, every time somebody drives over it, it puffs a little bit of material and water out. Well, it hard packs that ring. And if you put something over the top of it, that outer ring is more hard packed than what you can ever put in there. So it just does it again. You have to go through and rip that stuff out. But you also have to grade it in a way that the water will run off and not stand on either the road, the parking lot, or anything else.
So I'd like to make a suggestion.
That's what I'm saying.
You have $86,000 in the road fund. If you put $15,000 aside that we've voted on a long time ago or last year, whatever it was, to have it for emergency funds, that gives you roughly what, $60,000. Okay. Start working on it. That's what do whatever you think is necessary to do, is my personal opinion. I don't know if you guys want to vote on that. So I give him free reign. It's like he's got $60,000. He's going to have to rent equipment. He's going to have to bring in gravel or whatever.
The members have to have a say in that vote as well.
No, they don't. That's what we are for. They
It's-
voted
Yeah,
to
they-
build a,
That's right.
They already
They-
rescinded that vote for the $60,000 to pave around the office.
To
So
pave,
you got the
yeah.
$60,000.
here's
that's
the
what I'm
thing.
saying.
They voted to establish a road fund so that we as the board of directors can take care of the roads. It is our decision to make. We don't need to be waiting for a board meeting so that we can give him permission to fix the roads.
No, that's why I'm saying right now, you've got $60,000, my personal opinion. You know what you say you've researched it, you know what to do to get the roads fixed. The people want the roads fixed, so I would suggest start fixing. And
No
then
problem.
that's my personal opinion. So, if you need a contractor, maybe run that across this and say, hey, the contractor's gonna have to do this. My personal opinion is chip and seal is a waste of time and money, because you're only gonna be able to do 1 or 2 roads on that. And whenever you say, yeah, well, we get $15,000 maybe a year. That vote was done in 2011 based on that time frame. I mean, we're talking like 12 years ago at this point in time.
Yeah, and it was
inflation,
also
you know,
for
there's no way.
asphalt, but we have adjusted and moved. We still want a more permanent solution.
And
It's
that,
gonna
and
have
that's
to be
part
a
of the,
vote for the members to pay more money to get a road that they want paved. Otherwise, because like I
and
said,
that's part of the reason why the gentleman, the Oklahoma paving and chip seal guy went that low on the price, was because he knows if we stay with him, he comes out there and does a good job, and we stay with him, he's gonna get the next road and the next road and the next road and the next road. That's why the price was, he quoted the price so low, because he's looking at the big picture on,
do
you
you
know,
recall what that
what-
price was? For your road? For your road only?
it was $36,000.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, you can't even get two of those size roads done. And then you're going to have to wait 3 years minimally to get $45,000 back in there to do the next one. I'm just putting this out there for the rest of the people who don't maybe not know this. It's like, this Articles of Incorporation started this POA in 1980 for 50 years. That means 2030 is the ending of the POA unless the board of members at that point in time want to vote it back in. So my suggestion is, don't be letting the money sit in the bank account doing absolutely nothing, which is what it's done for however many years at this point in time, to turn around and do nothing with it. And then if the POA doesn't continue, then you have to give that money away. Use it for the people who paid it in. Get some roads done. That's why I said, William, do whatever you think you need to do, my personal opinion. And if you guys agree, don't agree, that's just my personal opinion. Do whatever he needs to do to get some roads done.
Should we take it to a vote?
Comes the turkeys. Randy?
Okay, well. You have to add
We
in all
got
the,
turkeys coming in.
yeah,
Gotta
what I'm
show-
saying, the vote, you have to have the details supporting the vote. I mean, could we put it out there to read and vote on it that way after this meeting? Like I say, because there's a lot of details involved here, and you have
Why
to know
can't we
exactly,
just,
well, you
why
have to know
can't we
exactly
just-
what you're voting on.
That's exactly why I kept
Yeah,
asking whenever I say
I
a
am for
budget and
getting
a
these-
plan. A
I am-
budget and
I
a
am
plan,
for-
but apparently he
yeah.
didn't like that.
Oh, I'm for
Well,
getting
but I
these roads
can't-
done.
I can't
Yeah.
tell you, unless I go out there and measure every single road, I can't tell you what West Canyon Rock Road is gonna cost for gravel. I can't tell you what Spaniard Creek's gonna cost for gravel. If I go out there and measure every single one of them, if that's what you want me to do, I'll do it. I got no problem with that whatsoever, if I can get to work by doing it.
Mhm.
But I mean, like I said before, I was asked for material costs. I gave you costs from 1 ton of gravel to over 40 tons of gravel, what it would cost. I gave you a cost of chip seal. I gave you a cost of 1 day, 1 week, 3 weeks, and 1 month of equipment rental. I mean,
I'd
at
say
what
work for
point
you.
can I get to work?
Yeah, I'd say work for your biggest bang for your buck. I mean, take the money you have available, try to get as much as you can done with it. I mean, all these roads need work, so I'd say it's more your choice to what road you want to do. You know,
I wouldn't put it on roads that, like Melissa said, it's just gonna go right down to the bottom of the hill. You know,
Right.
use some discernment and which roads is gonna benefit the most from having some work done to them.
is it possible to break it down between maybe the 2 worst or the 3 worst roads, and then make a selection which road you're going to do, and then that'll make it much easier to, hey, roads this long, roads this
Exactly
long.
what I was asking about
Yeah.
it on the.
Yeah, the
you
road's
know,
100 yards long, but we only got enough to do 75 yards. Wait, well, can we use that 75 yards to fix another road completely, you know? Is it possible to do something like that?
Right,
Honestly, if he's only got enough money to fix half of
Right.
one road, then let
Yeah.
him fix half of one
Fix that.
road. At least
Fix
it's
that for one
something.
road? Yeah, some kind of progress. Okay,
the chip and seal though. I still don't think we go that route.
okay, so, can we get William's input on which road he'd like to work on, or which roads he'd like to work on? It would help making decisions, but yeah, I'm all for getting this money that's sitting there doing nothing, getting it, spent on the roads that need worked on.
right. And what I want to do is I want to work on the problem areas, the areas that, you know, that like homeowners are putting, you know, gravel on their properties, and because the roads, the ditches don't drain properly, and all that stuff gets washed away. those are the areas I want to work on. Everything like, and I'm absolutely horrible with directions, but everything across the road from Forest, from the office, all that stuff down in that
Yeah.
that
real
hole
steep.
down there,
Mhm.
it's all real steep. That is a problem area. That needs addressed. Ford Drive needs addressed because it drains off down right at the entrance and washes away the gravel at the store. I mean, the problem areas is what I want to look at. The people that can barely get to their house without a 4-wheel drive. That's the problem areas that need to be fixed first, and then move out from there to the other areas that aren't so bad that we can use a tractor and we can go over there and grade it real quick and it'll last 6-8 months.
Okay.
So if you're gonna
we'll do
have
that
that
too.
done, or you're gonna like try to do that yourself? Are you like having a contractor come in to do that, or? do you
Well,
wanna do-
they'll have to haul the gravel, but they'll dump spread the gravel, and then I need to come over it with a box blade and put your, I'm not sure the proper term right off the top of my head, but put the proper pitch in the road so that the water drains off into the ditches and
It's
doesn't
called
puddle.
Crown, William.
A
William,
crown, a crown.
Crown.
I'm gonna text you with Keith's
Oh, you
phone
did?
number. He texted you with his number on Facebook. He actually builds roads for a
Right.
living. So he said that he'll help you with that.
And I appreciate that. That like I said,
It's not something that you can do all by yourself. You're
No.
going to need support.
sure. And
Yeah.
Right, well,
I
that's
mean,
what I
we
said,
had
just
some-
like what
we had
Randy
some
said.
people that volunteered the last time that did really good work, and knew what they were doing with the work. And I mean, I don't know if those people will volunteer again, but like I said, back then, ultimately it's my responsibility to get something done. If I got to go out there and do every single road, I'm willing to do that because that's what I signed up for.
Mhm.
So I like Randy's suggestions, William, if you can go out there and say, okay, I'm gonna do I'm renting a tractor this weekend. I'm gonna like box blade the area around the office and then see what I can do with that. And if we need to do the next thing, it's like, okay, well, I'm putting gravel on this road. I mean, if you'd like, just keep us like informed of where you're at and the progress and, let us know and say, hey, what do y'all think about if I bring in a tractor this weekend, if I can get this box bladed and if I can go down here and maybe, pull out this ditch, clean it out with something. In other words, just keep us informed. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
And I'm not, like I said, I'm not looking for like free reign on anything. I need action. I mean, I've provided everything I've been asked for so far, except how much it's going to cost to do this particular road in gravel. I've provided cost for gravel, cost for equipment.
I
I've
just
said
think it would be easier for us if you gave us like, okay, I done this road, blah, 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 from here to here, and it cost me X amount of money. That will give us an ideal at least to say, oh, okay, so you were able to do this road for $10,000. It's like, so if we can go over here with this same project and take $10,000, we can do it on this road. That sort of type thing.
And the members would appreciate seeing something done. They want something done.
I agree 100%. I mean, I trust me, I hear it. I hear it and I mean, I haven't even heard from the guy down there behind the office, but I mean, he did that whole road. He from the whole thing and actually circled around up by the dumpsters.
I don't think
So-
he put gravel down. I think he just.
No, he just-
Great.
Just
Yeah,
leveled
he
it
just-
or something.
He just
It's
leveled
nothing
it out
but
because
dirt
it's a
right
wreck.
now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically
It's
dirt.
dirt though. It's red
Well, and
dirt.
And
I
and,
was
and I would
there
like
this
to get him
morning.
some gravel so he's got a road. That's just like I say, I'm frustrated because I'm a doer. I want to get out there and get stuff done, and it just seems like it's not going anywhere. And
I
Oh,
feel like what you need, William, is a credit card number so that you can get the crap done.
well, I believe I can have them direct bill through Appfolio, can I, Becky?
Yeah, they can become a vendor.
Become a vendor through Appfolio.
Mhm.
Well, that sounds like an amazing idea. Let's do that.
I love it. I'm ready.
Okay. Only thing I have left on new business, if nobody else has anything, is our February board meeting date and time.
February, okay.
I will be out of town, February 17th till whatever a week from that Sunday is. So, oh, okay, 17, I'll be gone till the 26th. So that knocks me out of 2 Sundays. Now, that being said, I could probably Zoom. And if I did that, I would prefer to do it on the 26th, not the 19th. I wouldn't be able to on the 19th.
So does everybody would still like doing these on the Sundays versus the Saturdays, or?
Yeah, either one for me, both are fine.
Personally, I
yeah.
prefer the Sunday. That way it leaves my Saturday available for whatever it is that my husband has me scheduled to do.
So
Okay.
is everybody okay with the 26th?
I'm fine with the 26th.
So
Okay,
are we
I'm fine.
gonna do
Yeah.
the 2 o'clock Zoom? Is
yes,
everybody still good with that?
Yeah.
I'm good. Okay, so someone like to make a recommendation for a motion for 26th at 2 p.m. for our monthly meeting.
Via Zoom?
I will.
Yeah.
First, I'll make a motion February 26th for next meeting.
Okay, got a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
Okay, all say aye.
Aye.
We have 5 ayes passed. We have our next
So
meeting on the 26th.
So I just want to make this out there as well. So if you'd like start with the 26th, you backtrack 15 days. That puts it to be what, the 11th?
Yeah.
So
Saturday.
agendas need to be
Yeah.
turned into.
Try to get them in by
Susan.
the 9th, because it takes me a little bit of time with my job to get it done.
Okay, so
Agenda.
if you're having an agenda put together between the 8th and the 9th, please.
Okay.
That
tonight.
way she has time to put it together. She has time to get it all
Yes.
typed up, and then we can get it put out on the bulletin board and on the website, please.
Yes. Hope by the 9th then. Okay. Nice,
Okay,
sound
and
good for
then-
everybody? That's for
Yeah,
your
that's fine.
inputs?
And then Becky, I need to, I guess, get with you and figure out how to put people on as a vendor. So we can do that via email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
either one of us can do that.
Okay, either one of you. Okay, yeah. That'll work. Just somebody
Well, only one of us can do it right.
let me know what the steps are to get them on as a vendor, and then we'll go from there on
Okay.
equipment and the materials.
Okay,
Oh.
that's all I have.
That's all I have.
Okay, okay, the last item is the end of the meeting. Someone like to make a motion to conclude our monthly meeting?
I'll make a motion.
We have
William,
motion, we got a
second.
second here.
I'll
All in
second it.
favor of concluding our meeting? Aye.
Aye.
All
Bye.
right.
We have 5 ayes, meeting's concluded. Thank you for your time, folks.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
You
Have
guys
a
have a
nice
good
day.
rest of the weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.